Salutations, kings and queens. Salutations. Today we're making vegan alkaline sushi. Yes, we are. We're making vegan alkaline sushi today, kings and queens. Doesn't it look delicious? Doesn't it look like I used some real fish in this? Well, no fish were harmed in the making of this sushi, I can assure you. Now, I've got some quick alternatives that I use this time just because I didn't have time to make some Dr. Sebi mayo. So let's get in it. So you see me here starting with the tomatoes, the Roma tomatoes. This is what's going to be our salmon. I put a tiny little slit in the skin of each tomato. I poured some boiling hot water on top of them, and then I removed them from the hot water and put them straight into some ice water. So this is known as shocking. So once you do that, the skin will be easy to remove, as you can see. So once you've got the skin off, now you're going to get the seeds out of there, and this is what's going to help it look like real fish. So you see I'm just removing the seeds like so. And then once I've got the seeds removed, then I'm going to cut the flesh of the tomato into pieces that are easy to work with in the sushi, as well as pieces that resemble real salmon locks. So now that it's starting to resemble the look of real salmon locks, now we have to make it taste like real salmon locks. So I'm adding a little bit of sea salt and about 1/4 cup of kelp powder. Some onion powder just went in there. And now I'm adding about a tablespoon, a heaping tablespoon of bladderwrack powder. Not only does this add a super punch of nutrients, but it also is adding the fish flavor. It's going to make it super fishy. So you see, I'm adding a little bit of water. I want it to be really thick on there. I added just a little tiny bit of oil, to help the tomato be less firm, if you will, but most of this concoction is based in water. You can really leave the oil out if you're trying to live an oil-free life. So the oil isn't necessary, it just adds that extra to make you feel like you're really eating fish. So yeah, not so appealing, right? I know. I've got it at this thick, pasty consistency that I like because that's going to really help the flavors lock into the fish. I'm going to set it to the side for now. And once I'm finished prepping the rest of my veggies, then I'm going to rinse the fish off. And I like to do it in a bowl of water so that I don't lose the flavor. So I'm really just shaking off the pieces of kelp and bladderwrack that are kind of stubborn, but I don't want to just do it in plain clean water because it'll help to wash away the flavor. And so you see here, it really does resemble fish at this point. A really good mock, if you ask me. So for the rice, I wanted to use something different than rice, and I wanted it to be Dr. Sebi approved. So I used some zucchini and shredded it with a colander, and then I gave it a rough chop. Now I'm just cooking up a king mushroom and a portobello mushroom. You can leave them raw if you would like to keep this dish completely raw. So my camera stopped here. I feel like Mercury is already in retrograde, but my camera stopped, and I was making the spicy mayo. So I was using hemp seeds and ketchup and spices and water. And you can really, I didn't put any other spices than the regular usual for Dr. Sebi, the onion powder and the sea salt. So I put all that into a blender. I made it the thickness and the consistency that I want. You know, the more liquid you add, the more runny, the less liquid, the thicker. And so, yeah, that's how I made my sauce. I wish I had the footage to show you, but I don't. So in this bowl, I have spelt, rye, onion powder, and sea salt. And I'm going to use this as the batter for our fried shrimp. I'm going to use those oyster mushrooms back there that are drying off on that paper towel. I'm adding water. I don't want this batter to be so thin that it won't stick to the mushroom. So you see here, I'm going to show you what consistency I got it to. You don't have to fry these. You can leave these mushrooms out if it's your desire to keep the dish raw, but I wanted something more extravagant tonight for this sushi. With a little bit of kelp and a little sea salt to give it that fishy flavor. So I had some chickpeas that I cooked and I completely burned them. I burned the chickpeas. So I'm using these chickpeas that I found at Sprouts. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw me get these chickpeas on my Insta stories. I'm going to use this aquafaba, hold it to the side so that I can make some mayo, but I don't have any tonight because, like I said, I burned my chickpeas. So I'm using some mayonnaise that I got from the store that is not my favorite, not the best, but it's full of preservatives, but it's vegan. These chickpeas are going to be like a tuna salad or a spicy tuna that you would get in your sushi at the restaurant. And I'm just going to spice them up with a little bit of dill, a little bit of dulse flakes, some sea salt, and onion powder. And there we go with some kelp again. Very fishy meal tonight, packed, super packed with nutrients. I'm taking my fork and I'm smashing them in with the spices, and this really helps. I like to do it with a fork the best. This helps to bring the texture through that I really like. Unfortunately, like I said, I burnt my aquafaba and my chickpeas, so I'm going in with some just mayo, and I am using that with some mustard. Leave both of them out if you want it to be completely Dr. Sebi approved. You can use Brazil nut cheese in its place, or some avocado actually. So I'm adding in some chopped sweet onions, some green onions, and some cucumbers that I mixed with a little bit of coconut sugar and key lime juice. So as you see, I have all my veggies prepped. Now that all that is out of the way, it's time to make the sushi rolls. So I'm starting to put down my quote-unquote rice, and I'm just filling these rolls with whatever I want. I'm putting whatever I want to put in them. I had no plan. All I said was, what would I like in this roll? But I can tell you this though, I like the rolls that had some moisture in there. So the rolls that had some of the tuna, quote unquote, and the rolls that I put some of the spicy mayo in, and the rolls that I put the quote unquote salmon in, those were the best ones. I liked the moisture inside the roll. That was really good. As you can see, I'm no sushi chef or a sushi guru. I'm just a girl with an idea in the kitchen. And so I'm just practicing. I'm trying my best to get the rolls sealed. And that's mainly my main goal with this right now, is just to seal the rolls. And yeah. This roll, I did not use the sushi rice. I used the tuna as the base, And oh, I think that might have been my favorite one, the one where I used the quote-unquote tuna instead of the quote-unquote rice. So you want to make sure you have some water on the edge, and that's going to help to seal it. If you saw my last sushi video, then you saw me, I kind of struggle a little bit to cut it, but who cares? It's fun, and it's your sushi. So just, experiment, have fun. And those are butternut squash strips. I do use the butternut squash in place of carrots since the butternut squash is approved. I was running out of rice, quote unquote, on this last roll, but it still worked out just fine. It wasn't the fattest sushi roll, but it still worked out great. So now that I have made my rolls, I'm just going to try to make them a little bit fancy. Make them a little bit fancy, darling. Which I struggled a little bit with this. I just put some mango and some of the quote-unquote salmon on top with some sesame seeds. I did use the saran wrap to help me to keep the toppings in place while I was cutting. And I used an extremely sharp knife, and I just shaped and molded them. You see, I kind of messed up there a little bit, but it's all right. I made it happen. I made it work. And so with this roll, I moved it piece by piece individually onto the platter. But I'm going to show you in a few seconds here a better way to move the sushi. These toppings were truly fun frustration. I just made some very, very thin cuts into the avocado so that I could manipulate it as much as possible on the top. I couldn't make up my mind. I flipped it this way and that way a few times until I saw which was the most appealing to me. And, just... It's gonna take some practice, but this is something that I love. I love sushi, and I have not found a sushi restaurant around here to accommodate my idea of what sushi should be right now. So I'll just keep having fun in the kitchen this way. So you see, I'm no sushi chef. I'm no sushi chef, but I was making it work. I was making it happen, and I really have fun doing it. So I hope you guys have fun making your sushi too. So sidebar while we watch. When I was young, dumb 21, I met a wonderful king. I did not know he was such a wonderful king. I was only 21. I didn't know anything. So he invited me over to his home. He took my jacket, he took my shoes, and it was no Netflix and chill. He wanted to teach me things the entire time I was there, and one of the things he taught me was how to make sushi at home. And so ever since then, I've been inspired to try to make more and more creative sushi rolls at home, and that desire to make sushi at home hasn't changed since I have become vegan. It's only really expanded. So thank you out there. Thank you for inspiring me. Alright, so as you see, I am moving the sushi roll with the sushi mat this time. That made it so much easier to move the sushi versus the piece by piece. That's the way I suggest for you to move your sushi rolls to your desired plating of choice. this point, I'm just moving the sushi around so I can try to figure out what would be the most appealing to my eye, and I'm topping it with my spicy hemp mayo. I'm just topping it, and I mean, I had no rhyme or reason. I was just kind of going at it the way my heart so desired. And voila, there you have it. Vegan alkaline sushi. Well, at least it's alkaline if you don't burn your chickpeas and you have all the right ingredients. But anyway, alkaline vegan sushi. Hey! As always, I love you guys. So vibrate love and vibrate well.